Hello and welcome to the IGN UK Podcast. On this week's podcast, I'm joined by the one and only Daniel Krupa.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Daniel Krupa.
What is that? It's the most Irish you've ever sounded. Do you think I'm from Ireland?
I thought that was a bit Scottish, actually.
Do you think I'm from Ireland?
Krupa. Or is that Welsh?
Wow.
Well, it's neither. It's Ukrainian. So.
Oh, right. Can you do a good Dan?
I've done Dan a good few times, if that's what you mean.
Hey everyone, you alright?
That is Rory Powers speaking.
Yeah.
Do you want to do an impression?
Come
of Rory?
on. I'd be insulted if you didn't.
Hello there. I'm Rory Powers from IGN News.
You kind of sound like my dad.
Have you got the power? I do.
Anyway,
This is me in the bathroom
apart
every day.
from terrible impressions, the one thing that you two have in common is that you were at Minecon last week.
We were, which I was just showing my flashy badge. We just got the digital downloads or the codes for our in-game capes as well today, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a thing.
What colour's your new cape then?
I have no idea.
Not checked it out yet. Rory and I and Gav as well, we went down to Minecon in London. That was on the 4th to the 5th of July.
Yep.
And yeah, had a little look around.
So the highlight...
Be amused by all of it.
It was fun.
Well...
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Minecon is a fan convention. It's nothing like E3 or anything.
I don't think there was one last year. I think there was one the year before, maybe in Florida or maybe in Paris. There's been one in like Disneyland Paris. There's been one in Florida. And it's like a fan convention, obviously, for Minecraft. And this is the first one that's happened since Microsoft acquired Minecraft. And it took place at the Excel Centre in London over 2 days. And it was a really big event. They had one half of the exhibition centre was taken over by a big stage. There was another big area that was full of like panels where YouTubers did like kind of panels. They talked about updates. They talked about the Telltale game.
Yep.
And there was also shops selling loads of cool Minecraft merchandise and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely, you could, as soon as you went in, you kind of realize if you were a kid that was really into Minecraft, this would be your heaven.
Nirvana.
Like it was absolutely incredible. Like seeing some of these kids just go absolutely mad for things that were clearly beyond me. I didn't really understand what I was looking at. The kids were just losing their minds. Even during the opening ceremony when they had all these YouTubers kind of come out and there were kids like screaming and going crazy because to them these are celebrities.
Yeah.
These are people they've spent hours watching every day, and it was just way over my head.
Was no one screaming for you?
No, unfortunately. Actually, no. It was kind of funny because I was wearing the IGN shirt.
Nice.
And I was like up at the front filming the opening ceremony.
Even though you weren't supposed to be on stage, you were...
I was
afterwards, we were told that it's a fan convention. There's no special treatment for press because obviously we're press wankers.
Yeah.
And it was like, Rory, get close to the front. I said to him, like, so you get some good shots of the opening ceremony. And he's like, yeah. So I looked at the footage. I was like, this is really good. Like, how did you get so close? I was really worried he somehow got into like the wheelchair section. I was like, Rory, don't do that.
What, do you think they'd seen me and just thought, oh bless, let's put him near,
you were like
near the
make
front.
a wish.
I was.
So what did you do?
I was very near the front. I got very lucky. I think I was so much of a problem at that
pushed
point.
his
They were
way
really
in, that's
stressed
why.
out, so they were like, "Yep, it's fine. Just like go sit here." So I got pretty close. And then one point I was kind of like filming the crowd, swiveling around, and the kid must have seen the back of my shirt, and he was like, IGN, and he was like pointing to all his friends, and they were all like really excited about it. So that was really cool. Yeah, and I gave him a big thumbs up and a big smile.
But aside from you, Rory, the other highlight from Minecon was obviously HoloLens, which you played, Daniel. It was at E3, but it was the first time that you've gone kind of hands-on with Microsoft's take on, well, it's augmented reality rather than virtual reality.
Yeah, so I think everyone saw the really cool presentation that happened at the Microsoft E3 conference where somebody played Minecraft and it came to life on a little table and it was like a big 3D model and there was a guy looking at it wearing HoloLens while another person ran around the world and they could like zoom in and make lightning appear and all that sort of stuff. And the way it was demoed at E3, there was a camera filming it, and what we saw on the screen was what the guy was seeing. And while that is true, there's a slight caveat to that. So I played it, and first off, I'll say it's really good insofar as what they're calling holograms, even though I don't think technically they are holograms, but whatever they're calling holograms, they're really good. They're really detailed. The resolution's really high. The color's really good. And when I saw like the Minecraft kind of model on the table, I was like crouching down, looking around it. All the kind of hand gestures, the headset recognized really sharply, and the voice commands are really good. But there's one big problem with it is the demo and the trailer of HoloLens make it seem like you're in a world of holograms that are surrounding you.
Yeah.
But
a bit like VR would be.
A bit like VR, where you can still see like your living room, but there's hologram superimposed upon it. When you put on HoloLens for the first time, what it actually is, it's really hard to I think maybe convey exactly, but it's like when you're looking through the lens, there's like just a wide screen that takes up the middle part of the visor,
right?
And that's where all the holograms are restricted to,
right?
So in my preview that's on the site, I said it's like looking through a letterbox and looking through to a world of holograms, but that's the only space through which you can see the holograms.
So is it around it still see-through, or is it around it black?
Around it is still see-through,
right?
So it kind of has this hard edge to it, this hard rectangle. It's like a widescreen cinema screen. So it's kind of frustrating because you're looking at the table and seeing like this 3D model of Minecraft, but you're only seeing whatever you can see through that box.
Yeah.
And you want to see all of it simultaneously.
So, but do you think that is a technical limitation, or do you think that's because like you're still interacting with your environment, so you need to kind of see?
It's a couple of things. Like
what
one,
is
I can
around
see
you.
the utility of the fact that you don't want to take up all the lens, because I was walking around the table.
Yeah.
And if it like took up all my vision, even though
You'd
you can
walk
still
into
see that, I
something.
might walk into something, but at the same time, it was just frustrating because it kind of ruined the illusion.
I think at this point it's got to be a technical limitation. I mean, the only
It ruined the illusion, definitely.
The problem that people have with VR is that it takes up everything, and you are immersed in this world, and you become quite disoriented, and you don't know what's happening in the real world. With augmented reality, you don't really have that problem because it is a see-through lens. So even if it is taking up the whole scope of the lens, it's still just playing with things that are existing in real life.
Sure.
So I don't think it would be that big of a problem.
But it also it was frustrating me because the first part of the demo, it was like I was playing Minecraft normally on a TV screen, but the TV screen only existed on HoloLens. So I was sat on the sofa with a controller in hand, and I was looking at the wall, and I said, "Make TV," and what it did was create a big widescreen TV on the wall. And I said, like, make huge TV, and it went even bigger.
Right.
And even though the TV screen got bigger, I could still only see it where it existed within that small area of the lens.
Right.
So even though the screen was bigger, so if I looked up, I could see the top of the screen. I looked down, I could see the bottom of the screen. If I just looked dead on, I was still getting as much screen that fit into that box.
You'd have to step backwards to get the whole thing.
And it was just
strange, right?
And it's if you read any write-up of HoloLens that's on the internet, everyone comes back to that as the one thing. Beyond that, the technology is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think this has been stressed enough. HoloLens is not a peripheral. It's a computer. It's a standalone unit.
Completely self-contained.
I was playing Minecraft and it was running on HoloLens. It wasn't running on a PC or an Xbox, and this was streaming it. That was running it. So it's not. It's a personal computer. It's
so
its
in
own
theory,
thing.
I could be wearing that on a train.
You can be wearing it wherever you like.
I'd love to wear that on a train.
Play Minecraft.
Cool.
Make Minecraft. Sorry, I'm not touching you. I'm actually just fiddling with my blocks.
Which I do on most train journeys.
Yeah,
It's hot,
exactly.
innit?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Imagine
Fiddling with your blocks on the public transport.
Imagine when if a conversation is like kind of boring, you're like at a bar, like talking to someone and be like, yeah, I really think that make TV. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good, and then it'll just like appear in the background.
You're just looking at porn.
Yeah, well, obviously.
So
What
it
else
sounds
I
like
can
it's more of an extension of, say, Google Glass than perhaps.
Which I never used. Like,
No,
all
I've
the,
never
all
used
the
it.
use of that being a thing, that was never a thing that actually became tangible. Whereas also trying it on, if it like I asked Microsoft, it sounds like this is pretty close to being the final thing as well. Like saying things might change, but when you play with it, like the first time I played Morpheus, it had bits of tape on it. I played Oculus when it was a prototype.
Yeah.
This feels like a consumer product. It feels very refined. Like it could go this year.
Do you think there's time though, if so many people are having complaints about having it, limited to this? Do you think that's something that they would have time to change?
I don't know what. I guess it's kind of almost like kind of akin to an Apple thing where you want to make the technology as good as possible, so when it launches, it wows everyone and gets everyone on board. But if you're going to iterate on it quickly, then you can get away with it. But this is so kind of more out there than anything else. I feel like the first iteration has to wow people. It can't be like a half measure. It can't be like, I promise though, because you're never going to get the people to get behind it in such a way.
Well, that's true.
And obviously, Minecraft has been such a big part of what they've kind of shown. there has to be something else that it's going to offer.
And I thought this was the coolest thing actually playing it, is what they said is, the guys I spoke to were working on HoloLens, and I said to them, how long have you been like working with Minecraft on HoloLens? Has this been like a thing since day one? They said actually it's quite a recent thing, but they thought it's perfect actually to illustrate what you can do with the technology.
Yeah.
And they said what they want to do is actually it's not like, if you play Minecraft with HoloLens, it's not all about like playing it on your table and it's like this big model. Yeah. Actually, they're quite happy for you to sit on your sofa, play it, and then occasionally say build on table. If you want, like, say you're building something, and you're building it away using the big TV through HoloLens on your wall, but then you want to maybe get a God's eye perspective. You say build on table, and you can just like look around and assess what you want to do.
Do you have to hold your chin?
You've got to hold your chin and go
in a really wanky
like,
way.
You're basically like Kevin McLeod in Grand Designs going, ooh, they've done a good job here.
But they're behind schedule and over budget.
Wouldn't that be great if that was a hand gesture that it would pick up on? Like it would expand the map when
Daniel is thinking. But like if you want to like look at, and then you go back to game and you go back, and it's like they wanted you to go back and forth through using it. I was like, actually, that'd be really cool for lots of games. Like if you were playing Civ or something, and you wanted to like look at something, and go look at tabletop, or a horror game where, imagine if there was a thriller game or a mystery game where you had to look for clues around your living room, and it projected them around. Like Arkham Knight, you were playing Arkham Knight for the vast majority of it, just like you play any other game. But the detective scenes, you actually had to get up and maybe manipulate it Minority Report style, or look around the room. So just as just basically to break it up, not to replace. Whereas VR feels like a totally different thing to me.
Of course.
Like you put that on, it deprives all your senses, and suddenly you're transplanted to a very different gaming proposition. Whereas this feels like it can accommodate more traditional types of gaming and then embellish it.
Well, the fact that you could even put the TV on your wall and play it, and then swap to a tabletop without even having to take off the glass. Because I mean, if VR ever become a big part of games, it would be really weird. You reach a part of the game and they'd be like, okay, now put on your VR goggles and swap in between. But to be able to just do both with the headset still on, I think that would be like a bit of a game changer.
So how does it work in terms of like opacity, for example? Like, because your white wall that you're projecting your screen against is going to be different from my white wall, or color, or
I guess the memory fades a bit, but like what I remember is like when I was looking at the screen, it felt like wherever anything was being kind of projected screen wise, it felt really rich and colourful. I don't remember looking at it and thinking, I can still see the wall or anything. It felt like I was looking at a screen.
Okay.
What about like motion capture? Did it ever feel a bit
motion
loose,
seemed fine when it first started up, and I feel like this might be the way it was calibrated, because before you try it on, they ask you to look through these binoculars, sort of thing, like medical binoculars that measure the distance between your two eyes, and then they feed that number into HoloLens, which calibrates it. We did this really quickly, so I don't know if it was properly calibrated to my settings, because when I was looking through it, I got some, I think the term's chromatic aberration, where you see like green and red and blue, like hazing, ghosting. So when Minecraft first started up, I could see Minecraft in white, but then I could see Minecraft outlined in red and green and blue. So
it's kind of like when the 3D's a little off.
Yeah,
like a 3DS
and I don't know whether that
those.
was because maybe I didn't fit it properly. Maybe the number wasn't quite right.
Or you've
so
been drinking.
I would be forgiven of that, because I haven't read that many other places. So I think maybe I didn't have it fitted 100%.
See, I got that with Jurassic World when we saw that in 3D.
Really?
Is that like if you're looking straight at the screen, you go slightly off to the side, then you get the kind of the blur or whatever.
Or if you like tilt your head in a 3D movie, it goes off as well. So I think that's fine. But like when I was actually looking at on like the model on the table, it looked brilliant. Like it looked really high res as well.
So now that you've played Oculus, HoloLens, and Morpheus, out of the three, which are you most excited by?
I think I really like the idea about traditional VR, because I think it offers something new and totally different, and I think it will do best when people make games specifically for it. And I think still out of all of them, I think Oculus is probably most far along.
Yep.
And I also think them tying with Xbox is a really savvy decision, because suddenly you can get that to a big audience. I think Morpheus, I think it's weird that we didn't hear any more about it.
Really strange.
There were lots of demos at E3, but I still think they've not said any. Considering the week before Oculus said release window, they announced a partnership with Microsoft. Obviously, Morpheus doesn't have to do that because it is a Sony thing.
Yeah.
But they're still really quiet on when it's going to come out. So I think Oculus is still the most tangible of all of these things.
Yeah.
I think HoloLens is a slightly different thing. It's one application is gaming.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Oculus are really aligning with gaming.
That's
HoloLens
kind of their core. Yeah.
HoloLens is like, this is holographic computing.
Yeah.
That's the marketing term they're using. So it's also like if you're a designer and you make something
like 3D drawings, and
3D drawings,
like that,
or if you're a city planner or an architect.
Yeah.
So it has a multitude of uses of gaming as one.
I think that's why I'd be more quick to buy a HoloLens than I would be to buy
Really?
a VR. Yeah, I think so. Because I like gaming would be really fun to have like a full VR headset, but just assuming the amount of multiple uses that you could get out of a HoloLens, I think it would probably be worth it. I think you'd get more exciting stuff. Because with the VR, you're still just getting a virtual reality experience in different worlds.
But it's
HoloLens,
a completely absorbing experience.
That's
I guess, but
it takes you to different
I still
worlds.
can't imagine doing a gaming session of like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like I do with Arkham Knight with a headset on. I still think it's like I want to play 30-minute games or 20-minute games.
Well, I mean, people kind of said the same thing when Nintendo made the 3DS. They were like, I can imagine it being a gimmick, but I'm probably not going to play with 3D on all the time. And
I don't.
you don't. I know a lot of people that don't.
There's no option on Oculus to like turn off Oculus. Like,
That's just taking it off.
Turn off
essentially,
Oculus is not getting one.
That's his raison d'etre.
But it's interesting. Like in 10 years' time, we'll know the answer.
Yeah.
Like I can definitely see a world where something like HoloLens and something like Oculus exist side by side, because I do think they offer different experiences. Or there might be a world where you can transition from one to the other, where there's a HoloLens that can make its visor fully opaque and offer you a VR experience. But I do think they offer sufficiently different things to warrant being different things.
Okay. And also, if they didn't, then you've currently got HoloLens and
Microsoft pointing in with both.
Yeah.
So obviously they see them as different niches.
Yeah.
Or niches.
Niches.
Do you think the HoloLens would ever eventually become what they wanted Google Glass to become? Like this kind of utility that you would just like it'd be like a phone kind of accessory.
Google Glass just felt like a crazy expensive experiment.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people who've spent
but
a lot of people have bought it and now
there's no support.
I think we can all imagine a world not far away, like 10 years' time, where HoloLens is your glasses, like the glasses you're wearing now, and you can be Skyping someone.
I want contact lenses. That's what I want. I want AR contact lenses. That would be cool.
Oh yeah, so you just watch TV all the time.
Slot them in and then have them.
Just watch TV all the time.
Oh yeah, just like real life.
Well, let us know what you think about HoloLens and, of course, Morpheus and Oculus Rift. You can email us at IGN_UKfeedback@IGN.com. Now we're going to shift over to the cool stuff of this week.
Of course.
Powers, you're up first.
Yes, the first cool thing of the week is that Nintendo have announced the release date for the NFC reader/adapter for the original Nintendo 3DS. So the newer models, basically, they come with...
that has it already.
And then, yeah, exactly. So all you have to do is if you have an Amiibo, hold it down on the touchscreen or whatever, and it reads it into the game. Obviously, the older ones didn't come with that, so they're releasing kind of a peripheral that you presumably plug into the device, which means people with an older console, like myself, we don't have to upgrade just so we can get Amiibo support for our games. So they said it's coming out on September 25th, and a lot of people were worried about the price, because with a peripheral like this, you know, they could pretty much jack it up, and people are going to... If it's going to be less than buying a new console, they're probably going to do it anyway. Yeah. But approximately $20.
That's very cheap.
Which is pretty good.
What does NFC stand for?
Oh my gosh, I learned it and I was so afraid you were going to ask.
Do you know?
Near
field communication.
Near field communication.
Not Nintendo field communication. Because that sounds like it'd be walkie-talkie so that you take into war.
It's a bit of string between two cans.
Yes.
Yeah, tie one around your Amiibo and tie one around.
Are you an Amiibo collector?
I have. Well, I bought the Link just because I wanted it, and then you gave me a Bowser.
Is Link your favorite Nintendo character?
Oh yeah.
But you've never played a Zelda game.
How did you tell, Dan?
Is that what you've gone for?
Well, I think when I grew up, I was like, I'm gonna be like Link. So I had blonde hair already, so I was like, I'll just grow it out a bit, and then
Where's the outfit?
keep the dream alive. Those are my pajamas. I sleep in them, cuddle up with a little Hyrule shield and a little Navi as well.
Is that what she's called?
Navi's the fairy. Yeah. But it changes.
Thanks for clarifying that for me, Rory. I was making a joke about maybe some woman you slept with.
Oh,
it's fine.
right. No,
it's fine.
That was
Don't worry.
tattle.
No, I don't know who Navi is. Cheers.
How's your tingle?
Well, I'm really excited about it because I actually have Amiibo and I've never used them as they're supposed to be used.
What have you been doing them?
Oh my God.
Playing with them.
Are you lonely, Rory?
Look, do you sit home and just go, I'm going to beat you up about that?
That's definitely not what I was thinking.
The export times
I was thinking of the shape of Kirby.
Keep it clean.
The
Bowser
export
has
times
got a
are
spiny
quite-
back.
Kirby.
Yeah.
Poor little Kirby. I was wondering why
Right.
he had such a sad little face on it.
I've got something that's more exciting than that.
Oh, well, let's.
But it
let's
was
find
only a
out.
brief glimpse into the future. So last week, the closed alpha for Star Wars Battlefront opened up. And you obviously were at E3, so you played it.
Yeah.
So you're like, I played this here. What is it? But
I'm
you
dying,
played
I'm
it
so
too.
cool. Yeah.
What the hell
And-
was that?
I was trying to improve and it went, it went
Cockney.
worse. It's breeze past.
And man, I am excited by that game. I was excited before, but
Yeah.
having played the Hoth level and the...
Oh, you got to play the other one too.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
So the Hoth level was the kind of traditional multiplayer. 32 players, 40 players, I can't remember exactly what it was, but a lot of players.
Yeah.
Siding with either the Imperials or the Rebel Alliance, etc. But then there was also it was kind of like a horde mode where you play a Rebel and you've got waves of Imperials coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you didn't get to play that.
No.
So let's talk about the kind of the main kind of like Hoth mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just the fact that it is Battlefield. That is basically what it is. But the fact that you can pilot X-wings, Y-wings,
I never
snow
do any of this
speeders,
either.
TIE fighters,
My whole team stole
ATSTs,
all the
ATATs.
bonuses.
It's like, oh my God. But also just even the kind of stuff on foot was fun. I felt like I was not really, really shit, which is good for me in those kind of games.
Yeah. So I've played a lot of FPS games before. Like the first kind of thing that I found with it was that the whole kind of build of the game is a little bit more sluggish, a little slower than a lot of the ones, I guess, because of like advanced warfare and things like that. Now people are used to like exosuits and shooting and flying a much more fast-paced game. So this was maybe like a little bit of a step back to kind of like this more sluggish feel to it, but it's still quite action-packed. Some of the backpacks you can get are kind of like exosuits where they give you these jumps so you can launch forward. And there's definitely a really cool array of weapons which builds into it.
I really love that jump. Like that jetpack
The
jump is
jetpack
really
jump?
good because it's on the cooldown, but when you use it just right, it's really good.
Yeah.
I think more so on the Tatooine level where there's more verticality to the map. When you jump up, like a couple of times I did it, and you're just like shooting down on a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying.
I had it on the Hoth one where I had the triple grenade launcher thing, and I would just pop up and go goosh, 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 and then just obliterate.
That was cool. Yeah.
Really fun. But as I said, I never actually got to experience any of the flying or
The
anything
other
like
stuff.
that. Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of confusing because there wasn't too much explanation that came into it. I don't really understand the ways in which you achieve these power-ups, if it is a personal player thing or if it's a joint team, if it's objectives based or kill based.
Well,
The power-ups that kind of appear.
Yeah, I just kind of I assumed that they were just kind of on a regen. So
Oh, really?
that's how I kind of saw it because multiple times somebody would run in front of me, they'd grab the TIE fighter power up or whatever, and then obviously some of the
Shoot
TIE
off.
fighter fly around. But when they died, then it would reappear. So you'd only have a certain number of TIE fighters, a certain number of space, because otherwise everybody would be flying around in X-wings and stuff. It'd be a bit kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing I liked about it is that like flying a helicopter in Battlefield was really hard to do it well, whereas I found flying in Battlefront was much, much easier.
Well, which one were you flying, an X-Wing or?
Yeah, pretty much everything actually.
Oh, okay.
I can turn my hand to any kind of flying vehicle.
Well, you can't
in the Star
fly
Wars
an
universe.
AT-AT, so
You can.
and it takes off with this little.
Well, you
We're
can't
not
fly an
flying.
AT-AT.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
But I can pilot it.
Yeah,
and I
well-
piloted it really goddamn well.
Can you pilot things that don't fly? Like, do you pilot a boat?
Well, no, you sail a boat.
So why would you
Well-
pilot an AT-AT?
Because
Well,
you do.
Yeah, I think
You don't drive it. No, you pilot an AT-AT.
Yeah, I agree.
In fact, I think the main character is called an AT-AT. Oh, that's right. Talk amongst yourselves while I
Oh
find
god,
out.
this has gone off piste. Okay.
Yeah, I really did enjoy the game, and I think as soon as when the full build comes out and there's kind of a more established understanding of
We're always filling until he's been proved wrong.
more of an understanding of how
Ooh.
you get
He's an AT-AT.
Driver! I totally called it. AT-AT driver.
That's what Adam Driver's playing.
But that might...
That's crap joke.
So that was off of a Lego AT-AT, but that which might not be true in the Star Wars Battlefront universe.
But in the Lego universe, it's true.
Until proven wrong, I think. Yeah, I'll take this W. Apparently you do. Apparently the driver drives the AT-AT. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm extremely excited for that game.
Me too.
I cannot wait for it to come out. And it's only, 4 months away? It's not that long. You're going to play on PC or console?
Well, we've got good PCs now.
We do.
So maybe both.
You're on a Mac, so you won't be able to play that, mate. So, just saying.
What? It would run on Mac?
Yeah.
Maybe? They're pretty good ones.
The one thing it made me realise is that because I've been so kind of console-oriented for the last forever long,
yeah,
you can be so much more accurate with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one thing I found it really hard to shoot in that game.
But also because all the guns are blasters, lasers.
Yeah.
The range on them is miles compared to like a normal FPS.
But that's it. Yeah, it was kind of
most of the targets I was shooting at were like tiny little dots.
But that's why I felt it like so hard, because I'm used to like bullets and it's like boom, boom, you're like hitting your target. These kind of felt like shoot, and you could almost like see the lasers go out. Yeah. Like you almost had to anticipate the delay of hitting your target. And of course you don't have ammo. It's like a cooldown thing as well. So it's just these little changes that if you're used to FPS, it'll probably take a short while to get used to.
Well, so I'm used to like piloting AT-ATs, not driving them. So that's probably where I was going.
That's what threw you. So it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a pro when it comes to that. I'm not used to driving, so
of course
I'll get used to that by the final game. What about you, Creeper? What's been making you hot under the collar recently?
It's a weird way to intro to this. So overnight, it's rumoured, and it looks like this might be happening because it seems to get more realistic with every minute. Don't know why I've said it like that.
How is it getting more realistic?
I don't know what I'm saying.
How's it got more realistic?
Sorry, last night it was rumour, and then we're coming today, and it seems like more of a thing. Marissa Tomei might be Aunt May in the new Spider-Man movie, and she might appear in Civil War as Aunt May.
Right.
If I were to,
you didn't know who Marissa Tomei was?
I didn't. But I googled her, and I was like,
That's Aunt May.
Yes.
Oh, I feel better now because I don't recognize the name. Should I Google it now?
Well, it's one of those things, right? It's not. You wouldn't imagine her being all of the iterations I've seen of Aunt May. I wouldn't have said.
Aunt May is traditionally
old and grey,
rather elderly. She has white hair. She's a bit more frail. In the original Sam Raimi movie, she was played by Rosemary Harris. It was more the kind of archetypal Aunt May. Yeah. In the Amazing Spider-Man movie, she's played by Sally Field. Kind of late 60s, I guess, Sally Field is. So again, not quite like the white-haired Aunt May, but still older Aunt May. And then Marissa Tomei is obviously different. She's younger. She's 50.
The MILF.
What's her name?
Marissa. What am I saying? Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
Tomei.
Marissa Aunt May.
For some reason, I said Marissa then. I was thinking OC. I was like, Marissa's not our Aunt May, is she?
What?
Sorry, we're talking about the OC.
I have no idea what you're talking about anymore.
Talking about the OC.
While Rory Googles,
I'm not going to find it by the time this whole thing's over.
Jesus.
I think I've got it.
Anyway, so you're a big Spider-Man fan.
Yes.
So Spider-Man himself, Peter Parquet.
Peter Parquet.
Peter Parquet flooring.
This is going to be a bus electric.
That's Aunt May?
What do you think?
That's not Aunt May.
What do you think about that, Rory?
She's way too young. I thought Aunt May's.
How old do you think she is?
I don't know.
Actually, yeah.
Well, I said, how old do you think
don't
she
look
is?
at her age. How old do you think?
Late 30s? She looks good.
I know.
Really
She's
good.
50.
She's 50.
What?
Yeah,
But
Aunt
even
May.
that's going to be jarring. Well, I guess Peter Parker is younger in this
That's
one.
the thing.
Anyway,
So let's get
I'm
on to
thinking
that.
of like Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, so
this
Tom,
is like,
I don't have it on me, but Tom Holland, I think he's like something like 20, 19. But I think they're going to play Peter as like 15, 16. So kind of going back to what Peter Parker was. He's at high school.
Yeah.
He's a young kid. He's not Spider. He's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of responsibility, even though he's a very young kid.
And with great responsibility comes great power.
Yeah, and with Marissa Tomei as your aunt, that's what he's got now. So it sounds like she's going to be in Civil War. Hey, just calm down.
Sorry.
Calm down.
I need
Rory.
to stop looking at this.
He's
I
right.
love the fact he's looking at it on a Pokemon phone.
Yeah.
Pokemon phone. Yeah.
This is why Rory doesn't need HoloLens. He'd be looking at Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would be like, Marissa Tomei. and they would just be popping up everywhere.
Are you gonna say it like
I would
that?
mocap
That's
her
a bit-
onto your faces, so you'd be like talking, and
That's weird.
that got weird.
Mate,
didn't
that's
it?
that's
Yeah.
weird now. What you
Pretty weird.
say? Anyway, so it seems like this is a thing, and to go a bit more on Spider-Man, what they're trying to do is they said they're gonna cast a lot more of the supporting characters while they search for a writer. But I'm sure they've got a writer kind of lined up.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, but they've done quite well so far with the writers. I'm sure they've got someone working on something.
But as a writer, would you not have a kind of vision as to who the person is going to play that role?
I think if you're a writer, you don't. No, 'cause as a writer, you write the script before casting ever happens. Like obviously,
No, of course, yeah, but you have a mind.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Like
yeah.
any writer does. Like just like when you read a book, you
Yeah.
kind of maybe sometimes when I read fiction, I cast certain actors sometimes as characters even.
Give me an example.
Well, I'm trying to think of. So I read the Godfather novel, and in the role of Michael Corleone, I cast Al Pacino.
Oh.
I thought I would have.
That is such a boring story.
It was an intentionally boring story.
Okay.
Thank you. But like, I don't know. Well, I think if you're a writer, you write for the characters rather than who you'd want. Because these are characters that have been around for so long. I think it's easy to write for those characters.
Yeah.
It's a cool choice. I think lots of people, there's a bit of like saying she's too young, but I don't
She's
think it
50.
really
That's not
matters.
that young.
Well,
but
this
she
is
does
it.
look a lot younger than 50.
Like, how far do you think
And
this
maybe
is going
the
to be?
casting her, she'll be more involved with the actual film than just a kind of in the first half of the movie and for the final scene, which she has been in the
prop to get captured.
Yeah, in the Amazing Spider-Man movie, she was there just to go, "Oh, Peter, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I really love you." Like she might be
I like
actually
that role.
more involved with the actual movie. Which is cool.
Yeah. How far do you think this is going to be from the cinematic Spider-Man that we've kind of come to grow up with? Because I mean, like all these things, like a pretty young Peter Parker, a pretty young and like, is this going to be quite different?
I think they'll want Peter Parker to be what you've seen in the original Sam Raimi movie. There's like 30 minutes when he's at school.
Yeah.
In the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, he's kind of at school, and then he grows up. Spider-Man will stay at school for all the Marvel movies. I think they want that contrast because Tony Stark is late 40s. He's like 50 nearly, I guess something like that. A lot of their heroes are late 30s. Hulk, Cap's early 30s.
Well,
a lot of the
very
characters
old.
are that 30 to 50-year-old bracket.
What about Teen Hulk?
Teen Hulk.
I don't know. I just made that up.
But like this will distinguish it. I think they even said that. I think Kevin Feige said what you want from the Spider-Man movie is not quite the same, but one of the things he said is like he'd like it to be like a John Hughes movie,
Right.
like a teen movie, which we've not had for ages. Just like Ant-Man's a heist movie or Winter Soldier is a thriller. They want this to be a movie for teenagers, but not in a. I think some people might read that as like, oh, what, a bit crap.
Yeah.
Like teenagers are unsophisticated. No, actually, just a movie that plays upon those dilemmas in a very serious way, because being a teenager is crap.
Even the first one with Tobey Maguire, and he was in school dealing with the bully in the cafeteria and all these kind of like tropes that you have.
Which I think loads of people love those scenes. Like
I thought
I think if anyone's who like suffers any kind of bullying when they're a kid,
like
it's
Rich.
an amazing scene. It's an amazing scene. But then he grows up. He moves to the city. He's at university, and you never see him go to actually university anymore.
Yeah.
He's now working for a big paper, and suddenly the character becomes slightly less relatable.
Yeah.
Because suddenly he's this successful photographer.
Yeah.
Like you, Rory.
Unless you were a
Moves to a big city, and
hardcore
then
emo kid, you weren't going to relate to
Spider-Man
3 at all.
But if they keep him in school, I think suddenly there's loads of stuff they never even touched upon.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
Fair enough.
I think it'll do pretty well.
The last cool
The serious
thing
story.
for this week.
I love the transitions. Yeah, this has been great ordering. So the last cool thing on the cool stuff list is that Japan has accepted the US Robot Fight Challenge. So if
Do you want
guys
to provide some context?
it's low.
to this?
I assume everyone's been keeping up to date with it like I have, viciously. So Japan and the US have both been working on their own kind of fighter robots. They're actually, there's one specifically that's commercially available in Japan. We did a news story on it a while back. You can buy it on Amazon in Japan. And basically, you can drive it down the street and it fires BB guns at like 1 billion a second. It's insane.
I think you're making that up.
Well, maybe that.
A billion a second.
It would just be a solid stream of BB guns. A lot a second.
And you mean BBs, not BB guns, because BB guns are things
fires
that
the guns, and then the guns fire BBs. It's like an insane
It's really
barrage.
Well,
Yeah.
again, that is the American in you coming out. Just like, guns!
It's a gun that fires guns, that fires
That's the most
bullets.
American thing I've ever heard.
Alongside that, Megabots, which is the company in the US. I know, right? It's amazing. They've built their own two-man pilot fighting robot, which can fire 3-pound paintball cannonballs at over 100 miles per hour.
3 pounds? That's really heavy.
They were like denting cars, like obliterating things. So they basically were kind of playfully challenging Japan to a robot fight.
So what, you sit inside the US one?
And the Japanese one, which I was a little confused about because I thought they were kind of
a robot
driven, not piloted. I assumed that they were
mech suits.
That's essentially what, yeah. So there will be people
in
inside.
Titanfall. Do you drive a mech or do you pilot a mech?
Oh,
you're a pilot. You're called a pilot.
Do you think the fact that it can fly or hover changes the verb?
It jumps.
Yeah, but I think that
you're not going to see
you wouldn't drive a robot.
You would pilot it.
You can drive a robot.
But would you
especially
like, for instance, like a power suit in Aliens? You drive that because it's almost like more workmanly. It depends. Like the power suit, in Aliens,
you drive.
I would say you drive that.
Sorry, no, you pilot it. Sorry, you got me confused. I think
I would say you drive that because it seems so workmanlike.
Anything that's wheeled or tracked, you drive. Anything else is pilot.
Well, I'm pretty sure both of these are wheeled.
Do you pilot yourself?
What?
Do you pilot yourself?
No, that's a ridiculous thing.
You drive yourself, obviously. That's what
I'm driven.
Yeah, of course. Basically, the Japanese responded by saying...
The Japanese responded.
Yeah, well, I feel like, this is a political podcast. They said they'll fight, absolutely, but come on, guys, make it cooler. Just building something huge and sticking guns on it, that's super American. Which is kind of true because the American robot is like, it just has these giant cannons on it, whereas like the Japanese one has like all these different kind of accessories. They're not just like throwing everything on one giant cannon. They have like
what kind of accessories are they?
It's got braided hair, and beads. No, it's got
lovely set of earrings.
It's got
smashing blouse.
It's got guns on its arms, and then even ones that like pop up.
So still guns.
Still mainly guns.
Yeah, of course it's more guns. What else is it? Rory, does it have a bubble shield or something?
You think Rory went into accessorize? He's like, this is crap.
Where's the guns?
Have you got any guns?
So basically, both countries have 1 year from now to make changes to the robot. So hopefully they'll take the human aspect out of it, so they don't have 3-pound paintballs coming flying through windshields.
They'll be up to like 10-pound paintballs by then that rips through kind of like solid steel.
Obliterated.
Yeah.
Imagine going to like a paintball field and someone shows up with this like or one of those mech suits and just like firing through trees.
I want us to enter it. I want Britain to enter it and basically just send over like Sergeant Bash
from
Robot Wars. Or the rover that got lost on Mars.
There was, because I've worked in this area for a while, there was an actual Robot Wars shop just off of Good Street.
That can't have done much.
Did they sell robots?
But like, I remember when I started like this new job and I walked past and I was like, oh my God, there's a Robot Wars shop.
How many robots from Robot Wars can you name? Can you remember? How many can you remember?
Sir Kill-A-Lot.
Sir Kill-A-Lot, yep.
Oh,
I've given you one already, Sergeant Bash.
Yeah. I think I'm done.
Was there not another one?
Was lots more.
Well, no, I meant...
Do you know more?
I know more. I know at least 2 more.
Go on then.
Matilda.
I didn't know that.
And Dead Metal.
I think I
So
remember
you could just be making that
and
up.
Craig Charles.
Yeah.
Let me find them. No, like Dead Metal and Matilda. People will know them.
Matilda.
No,
that would have been
Matilda.
good. Metal.
So it's not
I
even,
just pulled my phone those pictures and Marissa May. She wasn't in Robot Wars.
It's not even a play on words. It's just Matilda.
Yeah, but I think it's like it's supposed to be. Oh, she's so cute, and then.
The
actual chainsaw for a tail.
The American developers, Megabots, they actually want to make a UFC style robot fighting league. So they want to see how this one goes, and then hopefully make it maybe like an annual or a biannual event where maybe even other countries can like enter in.
But
and have like, would you not watch the robot like wars?
But it sounds. But
Oh,
but that has been a program that was around like 15 years ago, whenever it was.
It was like shoeboxes with a buzzsaw
the
attached to
important
it,
thing is,
being
right,
like wheeled out and obliterated.
The
I want to
important
see
thing
giant people
for me
like.
is
I want
for that
real steel.
robot
Yeah.
to go into battle on its own accord with its own intelligence
Okay.
and then smack the crap out
No,
of it.
because then the next thing is, then they go, "Why are we fighting each other? We should
Well,
turn on the
Sentient,
humans," and then
Skynet,
they'll
Judgment Day.
kill
So I've got the name of all the house robots from.
Yeah.
I don't remember some of these, and
Yeah.
some of them sound a bit rubbish. So one of them's called Cassius Chrome. Not even
remember
a
that.
pun.
was-
It's
no,
Cassius
no, no,
Clay.
bad.
Classic. What begins with a C that's slightly chrome.
alliteration.
He had a speed of 20 miles per hour.
That's quite fast.
That is fast.
Dead metal, 12 miles per hour.
Yeah. It feels like we're playing Top Trumps.
Growler.
Growler.
There's one called Growler. The Growler was powered by 6 batteries. And,
Not included. Not included.
Do you want to know what Growler's weaponry was? Had front jaws with a force of 200 psi.
I think I've gone out with her.
And yeah, it had sheer destructive power. Weakness very unpredictable. And causes damage to the arena. And Matilda. It also had Mr. Psycho. I don't remember Mr.
Psycho.
Refbot, Sergeant Bash, and Shunt.
Right.
I said Shunt.
Yeah.
And Sir Kill-A-Lot.
Yeah.
Shunt.
There you go.
I like Sir Kill-A-Lot. He was my favorite because he was the one that would push them into the holes, like the fire
Into
pits
the
and
really
stuff.
I think that
crappy
was
fire
no,
pits.
do-
They
was
were
it- was
really
it-
rubbish. It was like a match.
I think that was Growler.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
So that's all your robot fighting
there you
updates
go.
for the week.
Oh.
Well, if it ever happens, I want you to do the commentary on
Oh,
IGN.
yeah, let's fly me over there. I'll do it. I'll get in the suit if they let me.
Probably just watch it on the internet and then commentate off that.
Or that, yeah, sure.
Do you want to know Growler's method of attack, or should we leave this now?
I want to know.
Grabs with jaws, holds, and pushes into arena hazards or fellow house robot. So, there you go.
Effective.
I do like a big round. So shifting away from cool stuff, we're moving on to stool stuff.
I love that we only have one stool stuff.
I love how this changes
It's nice
every week
because
as
it's
well.
like, it's like
Struggling.
How many
I am struggling. Yeah.
I thought this is really good though. Cool and still is very strong.
That makes sense.
Next week's gonna
Because stool is another word for feces, if you weren't aware. So,
not just.
and so it's just one thing, and I picked this.
It's just a sample.
a small sample.
A small still.
I can't think of anything else to follow that with. So I'm going to follow through with this, and it's the first picture of the
Quality.
new Ghostbusters. I don't know if it's called Ecto-1, but it's the Ghostbusting
I think the
yeah.
license plate says that.
Ecto-1.
I think it does say it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so let me caveat this, is that it's not so much the car itself, although I have got some questions around, like, it's supposed to be set in the modern day, this film, but that car looks like a hunk of shit, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So that I think that tells you about where they are. So
well, that's
even
it, yeah.
though we do the job that we do, like I wasn't super up on what this was. For a while, I thought this was kind of a continuation. I didn't think it was a reboot. I thought it was kind of a continuation of the original. It's just like 20, but I think it is a reboot now. So
Right.
I feel like I should know more, but I've kind of stayed away from it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm kind of interested in the movie.
Yeah.
So trying to like not read too much about it, but I do think it is a full reboot. So it sounds like
So as
they
if the
are
original film never existed.
yeah, so they aren't doing all that well, so hence the crappy car.
Okay. Well, it's still quite good, though. It's
Yeah.
better than the original Ecto-1, which looked like a kind of cobbled together, like, that looked like
But that was kind of the charm of it as well.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was like
Whereas this looks a little bit more pro. But I think the bigger thing for me is I just wish that people, directors specifically, would stop tweeting out pictures from films that aren't coming
Oh,
for ages
no.
away. Because I think the other thing that came out this week was a pic of, I forgot the name of the actress, Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy. Yeah.
In the jumpsuit, but without anything else. So it
Yeah.
looks like this
She's
really
called- she's called-
unflattering
yeah.
brown jumpsuit with orange kind of like rings on it.
Well, she's just stood there. It's not like a pose.
Yeah.
Like she's been caught candidly, just like in between takes. And it's not the first time you want to see it because people will bitch and moan about the costume. It's like
Yeah.
you're not seeing it in action. You're not
Yeah.
seeing it in the best light, and it's like all the leaked pictures. Like I've been to film sets and costumes.
They're not sexy.
They look awful.
Yeah.
Like off.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when they're not lit properly. Like there's been props and stuff. They just look terrible. They look they look fake.
Yeah.
Because they are fake.
Yeah, well, what?
I know.
Pack doesn't
but it's
work.
true though.
The plasma rifle.
But when
serious?
stuff isn't lit properly,
It's a
it
proton
looks
pack.
so
I know.
mundane.
I was hoping no one's going to bring it up.
Because like it looks well when you see it like that, it's like if you were wearing it, it'd be like it's like mundane if you see it in everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the
Although,
movie magic.
If I saw somebody walking down Oxford Street with like full
fair play
Ghostbusters
to them.
outfit, I'd be like, yes.
Fair play to them.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
So
That's another question. Will they keep that?
Oh, they're going to.
What is Ghostbusters? Big philosophical question, but like Superman, for instance, when Bryan Singer brought it back with Superman Returns, they retained the John Williams theme tune because that is Superman.
Yeah.
Like you hear that, but then Man of Steel, they had to get rid of it.
yeah.
Well,
Do you
this, it's
hear
like
that? That is.
I think they definitely
They've,
will.
they've kept the same logo.
But imagine if they hadn't have kept the Star Wars theme for like episode 7.
Oh god, yeah. But that's continue. That's the thing. That's
I know,
continuing.
yeah.
But in this, they've kept the same Ghostbusters logo on their arm.
Yep.
They've called. They've not broken entirely with the
It
past.
has to have
Da-da-da.
Ray Parker
Well, that's
Jr.
it. That's the whole point. If you're going to
That's
cash
so
in
dated, in a way.
But that's
But
what...
no,
if you're going to cash in on like the nostalgia factor of rebooting a popular franchise, you can keep as fresh as you want, but you're going to need to do these
and you
things.
can only change so many things.
You're going to need to have these little like checks to cash where it's like, oh, the theme song kicks in. That's already going to be a moment that people are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
When they see the cars and the suits, these are going to be moments that'll bring back a lot of memories. I don't think you can go changing them. As easy it is to explain why they're driving this old car in the present day, like as we said, like money problems.
Yeah.
It's most likely because in a board meeting they were like, we need to keep the car because people love the car and they want to see the car again. That's most likely the reason why they're still driving that car.
Yeah. It's a different car. It's not the same car.
Well, similar.
It's still an old
similar-
crappy.
Yeah. No, they're not
they've
like
done
driving
up.
a.
I do
a
like
Mini
that Chris
Cooper.
Hemsworth is their
Yes.
secretary. I think that's really
cool.
funny.
Yeah.
I would like. He's quite a funny guy actually. I've seen him in other films where he's quite funny.
Just to kind of continue on the topic of getting rid of like old stuff. Seeing Star Wars, but without the 20th Century Fox fanfare, is going to be
because that's
weird.
in your head. That's the intro to that
Yeah.
piece of music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part
Because
and
it's going to
parcel.
have "Wish Upon a Star."
Yeah.
Is it the Pinocchio thing? Like the Disney theme tune? That's Is that "Wish Upon a Star"?
And then it goes.
When you wish upon a star. Yeah.
It's a variant of
It's
that.
Pinocchio, isn't it? And then
It's a
and then
motif.
that's going to go straight into the crawl.
And then
That's
the
gonna be weird,
little
isn't
Lucasfilm sparkle.
Oh, it's going to be that. Yeah.
Oh my
The
god! I
tingly.
can't wait. I'm getting excited just
I know.
thinking about it.
I know. Anyway.
That's actually not that long away.
No,
It's
it's
not.
really not. When we went to see Jurassic Park, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
my heart was racing the whole Star Wars because that's the first time I'd seen it on the big screen and like
Wow.
Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. It was so good.
I'm excited. Krupa, you've got the first piece of reader feedback.
Yeah, it's a really good bit of feedback from Lawrence McLean. And he says, "My name is Lawrence. I am from the States."
Yeah.
Which is something some of people say. He's a big fan of the podcast, and he says, "Honestly, I was a bit upset that you guys kind of pussyfooted around the bigger issue with Spider-Man and why Sony and Marvel has not considered Miles Morales or a black Spider-Man. You could say that it's about race, but honestly, I think it's just about African Americans playing hero roles. Look at the backlash that Michael B. Jordan received when it was announced that he would be playing Johnny Storm, a historically white character, and compare that to the response that Jason Momoa received when it was announced that he would be playing Aquaman. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's really about seeing black actors in hero roles. I just wish someone would come out with the balls and say, yes, it's about race. We have to cater to the majority who are white people. Again, I love the show. Please keep up the great work. I like you guys more than the American podcast."
He shouted that last bit.
Yeah, that's all in caps.
added
So
that, right?
he really means it. And I think that is a fair point. Like, I guess there's like a couple of anomalies that they probably are. You could categorize them as anomalies, but things to kind of counter the argument. Like, for a long time when I was growing up, the biggest actor in the world was Will Smith, and there was no problem in casting him in hero roles at all. Like he owned that.
And then he did Wild Wild West.
Again,
Oh, no.
again, but it's true. Like, he is an anomaly. There's not many Will Smiths. Whereas you can say there's lots of white guys who take those hero roles. On the issue of Spider-Man, like, I think if the Marvel thing keeps on going for as long as the next 10 or 20 years, I think we'll get to see like more diverse characters assuming these roles. I think the Marvel decision, for bragging rights or whatever, I think because the history of the characters and the way that it's gone around license-wise, I think they want to do Peter Parker. I agree with you. I think Spider-Man can be any nationality, any ethnicity, because Spider-Man is like Batman. It's a symbol. Like, it's somebody puts that mask on,
Yeah.
they're Spider-Man, they're the hero of the people, they're a kid
Yeah.
who takes on the responsibility of that city. So I think Spider-Man can be anyone. I think they want to do Peter Parker because they didn't have that character for a long time. He was the original Spider-Man. He's
Yeah.
like one of the biggest characters.
Yeah.
And I think they just want to do white Peter Parker.
But,
But
like-
I agree with you. Like, I think...
But it's like I was saying to you, like if I went into a new Spider-Man film and it was like, this is Miles Morales, I'd be like, who's
this?
that?
Yeah.
Because I don't, like for me, Spider-Man, I don't know the Spider-Man universe at all.
You know Peter Parker
But I
is
know who
Spider-Man.
Peter Parker is. And similarly, like if it was Batman, they would never ever do anybody else apart from Bruce Wayne.
Unless it was established in a previous film leading.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
of
that's the
course.
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
and like, you know, like I said, if this stuff runs and runs, and they go past Phase 3, they're gonna need stuff. You know, they're gonna like want to incorporate more characters
Yeah.
and do cool stuff. And like, if you look at what's happening with Marvel Comics late in the year, and some people have criticized this and going, look how progressive Marvel has been with its comics compared to its movies. Yes, you've got the Falcon in the movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, there's going to be a Black Panther movie, but still, it's all about the white heroes.
Yeah.
If you look at Marvel Comics post Secret Wars later this year, it's literally the most diverse the Marvel universe has ever been in terms of black characters, Hispanic characters, female heroes,
Yeah.
like with A4 Silk, Spider-Gwen. It's the most diverse Marvel Comics universe they've ever had, Miss Marvel.
I mean, do you think that's
I
why?
do think it's skewed.
Do
Like,
you think
still.
that's why the films have kind of like started that way and are becoming more diverse? Is because a lot like that's where the comics started as well. Like a lot of the
I
main
think
heroes.
like Lawrence is right. Like Hollywood in general, like a lot of mainstream popular culture is inherently skewed towards white male demographic.
Yeah.
Like this popular culture stuff, it just is.
Yeah.
Just as like we always have these recurrent conversations about female protagonists in video games
Yeah.
or any of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's skewed that way. Whether it's right or wrong, like people believe based on marketing or financial decisions that it's right, independent of an ethical judgment. They think it's right from an economic standpoint. It's probably totally bogus because if you actually trust people, there are cases where stuff starring a female protagonist does incredibly well, but next time it comes around to making that decision, people bottle it.
Yeah.
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 Well, hopefully it'll change. You know, as the demographic for these sorts of films is just exploding now and widening, and you know, these films are becoming internationally bigger things.
I think it takes like a couple of runs. Like it takes like not one isolated, because one isolated film that does well with a black hero or a white like a female protagonist, people go, oh, because it was that actor or it was that director. It takes like a cluster of them for people to get confident in doing them. Because otherwise it'll be like attributed to going, oh, well, it's this factor that it did well, rather than it being just a good film. Anyway, good email.
Number 2 is from Kyle, who has written in plenty of times. Hello, Kyle, Duck Hunt. Last week, Chris barraged Alex with sustained abuse when he said he had never seen the Godfather trilogy, but had just
sustain me with constant
watched.
abuse. You're right.
But he just watched all the Fast and Furious films.
I did. Yes.
So choosing your time very deliberately there. While you both no doubt enjoy both types of entertainment product, it seems to me that Alex is firmly on the game side and Chris is on the film side of IGN. Has Chris played the best games of all time?
No.
I would guess not, considering the only game he mentions is Duck Hunt.
And Words with Friends.
Alex could have a go at Chris at not playing some of these amazing games, but doesn't, unlike Chris with films. That sentence threw me off. Has Chris even played Batman
I could have a go
Arkham
at Chris.
Knight?
I could have a go at Chris, but I don't.
You don't?
Because I'm the bigger man. That's what the point he's trying to make there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's
Literally.
Yeah. I'm the bigger man.
safe to
To
say.
be
So there
fair,
you go, Kyle.
to most people are.
Alex is a hero and a king, and he is.
But the point
high
he's making
standards.
is like, I watch games, play games, and watch films. I just haven't seen Godfather.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris has only ever played Worms, Words with Friends. I don't think he's even played Duck Hunt, to be fair.
He knows what it is.
Snake on the
So-
Nokia. Has he probably played that?
Ooh,
I don't
maybe.
know. Like, he's not here to defend himself.
That's
so, yeah.
true, so we can be as mean
Stop
as we
being so
want.
mean to me, Chris.
Yeah.
Bastard. Anyway, I've got an email from Carl Chester Morrisden, who says, "This week I've watched one of the best worst films I've ever seen. That film is called Bunny Man.
What's this voice?
I don't know. Its story was horrendous, but its style was hilarious. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't know. My question to you, as professional reviewers," that's probably talking to you actually, do you still view films as so bad that they're good? And if so, which ones are amongst your top of list?
Oh,
It's a hard one. Right?
That is a thing though, like, because with Terminator Genesis coming out, some people have taken that stance where it's so bad it's enjoyable.
Really?
That's got to be a bit of an
I've not seen the movie, but there is that thing where a movie, you know, people are like, oh, I enjoyed it in a really ironic way, which I'm not getting behind, but like, I remember once staying over at my cousin's and we were hungover, and the next day we watched Jason X.
Right.
And it's like, people who are making that film know it's preposterous. I don't know if you know it, but like,
I don't know.
Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th is sent into space, and he's
thought
on
it
a
was the
space
space
station.
one, yeah.
And it's a bad movie, but it's really funny.
Right.
Because it's so...
Of course.
Ridiculous. But the people making it know it's ridiculous. And they know they're not going to make a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, hungover watching that, we had the best time watching that movie.
So,
I don't think we would have enjoyed a serious good movie but more than that movie at that point in time.
So, but the question is, as professional reviewers, which you are now, where would you kind of stick that on the scale?
I would still judge it as a bad movie.
Right.
And I think ultimately you can still give it a low score.
Yeah.
And that's where score and the written review can be at odds slightly.
Yeah.
Like in the written review, you can still say, this movie is still enjoyable, but ultimately it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And therefore the score is a reflection of its overall quality.
Well, that's
but
like
the
that,
text always like can say more than a number ever will.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Sweary game.
Wolfenstein?
No.
Wolfenstein's a sweary game.
No, not as in sweary. Like
the developer.
Oh man, that game. That's kind of mechanically, it's fundamentally broken, but it does some kind of interesting stuff. I cannot for the life remember what it's called.
I know what you mean. It's thingy. It's the one that's a bit Twin Peaksy.
Yes.
It is Deadly Premonition.
Thank you.
Well, do we have a review of The Room on site? Like, that would be a perfect example. That film's awful, but it's so good.
And also, like,
because
it's a film you watch with friends, and if you're drinking,
or
a film you
Trolls.
can talk over and like still kind of enjoy.
I think, I get that. Like, you go into a film with expectations. I'm not sure about Terminator Genesis, because for me, that's just taking the piss, because Terminator Genesis should be a good Terminator film.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then they've just dropped the ball.
It's almost like it's all like, even looking from the trailer, it's a little like they're making a parody of
Yeah.
like Terminator films.
Yeah.
It's that ridiculous.
Yeah, so bad it's good type films usually kind of is classified to like B movies and like lower budget ones.
And
You
it's
never
weird,
really see like a Hollywood
but I feel like
movie.
your expectations then are lower, and you factor that into
Like, you're
your
okay with that,
appreciation.
yeah.
Maybe,
Like,
absolutely,
these people are working on a budget, and
But I wouldn't pay 12 quid to go and see Terminator, going, oh, this is going to be horrendously bad.
Scrap I really
Yeah.
Rob Porter's written in, Dark Souls 2 was amazing. So I think this is in response to me last week kind of saying I didn't like it as much. But lots of people don't like it as much. But I didn't say it was a bad game. I actually said it was a really good game. Anyway.
Yeah, but
Rob says Dark Souls 2 was amazing. I spent 200 hours on each game. I feel Dark Souls 2 was more polished with fewer jipping boss fights. Fair enough.
Yeah. He's
Rob,
saying you're wrong, Creeper.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't
basically.
mind. I don't mind Rob having a different opinion. I'm glad he enjoyed it. I didn't say Dark Souls 2 was bad, just not for me.
This email is from Robert Moore. I was never into Minecraft, but I am very excited for Lego Worlds. Love to hear your thoughts, especially Alex.
Of course, especially me.
Rob from Ireland. I'll see you soon, Rob. Well, Northern Ireland.
That was a bit creepy.
What?
See you soon. Well, I'm going to be there.
Well,
I'll be up
in Rob's
north.
back garden.
Yeah.
So first of all, what do you
Throwing
guys think?
Minecraft games at his window.
What do you guys think? It doesn't really matter, because he wants to know what I think.
Yeah, so
Especially
alright.
you, Alex.
Yeah, especially me.
You know.
Look, anything with Lego is exciting, right?
Yeah. But do you not think like the whole block world sandbox game is becoming a bit annoying now?
You should
Like,
have said
it's a
that at
bit-
Minecon at the
A
weekend,
bit
mate.
too much. Just
You would have
grab
been
a
lynched.
mic.
Loads of kids would lynch you with your own cake.
never
Anybody
told
got
you.
any questions from the audience?
Did Dan tell you what happened?
What?
When we,
I'm Dan.
Yeah.
did Gav tell you what happened? We went to shoot the start of the carnival rides, and we set everything up. His radio mic was going through the PA.
Yeah.
And we didn't notice. He was like, "Are you getting that?" And I was like, "No, I can't."
my
I was like,
God.
"I think I can hear it." He's like, "Is it coming through on the thing?" And it was like booming through the whole thing, and I was like, "I can hear it, but I can't." And then he was like,
I'm surprised, knowing Gav like we do, he didn't do something
he was
outrageous.
really responsible with it. He was like, "We'll
I'm
change the
s-
frequency," and I was like, "You should have at least said like
Oh my
penis or
God.
something before."
I did not know that.
It was.
Okay.
It was really funny.
We should do that more with our radio mics. Go
Just
to public
find the
events.
Flake through. I'll give it a shot.
Anyone want to go down to EGX?
Exactly. All with like different radios. Walking around just going, Bellends. because that's what I would do if I had a radio mic. Personally, I prefer playing with real Lego rather than virtual Lego. Is the only thing.
Yeah, I'd probably play virtual Lego.
Charlie from Bahrain. I don't know if we've ever had a listener from Bahrain before.
Where's Bahrain?
Where is Bahrain?
Yeah.
It's in the Middle East.
Oh, hello. I won't be there next weekend, unfortunately.
Good. It says, hi guys, wondering if you think that when it comes to award season, indie films should get more attention as well as big budget movies, is that they appear to constantly missed off of the awards. So basically, award season, big budget blockbusters tend to get missed off apart from maybe like technical effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And indie movies aren't perhaps celebrated as the kind of stuff that sits in the middle, especially stuff like the Oscars.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with it. I was watching the feature that we had on site the other day, the history of awesome ones that we do, and one of them was talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones film, and just how it was nominated for all these awards. And I was like, you wouldn't really see that these days if you had a film similar to that. It wouldn't be the kind of film that you would assume
It's once in a blue moon. It's like Lord of the Rings, the third one, won it. Like it was almost like, you've done two of them and they're really good. We kind of owe you something. So Peter Jackson got the best director for Return of the King, but it was kind of like, you've earned this, rather than an individual recognition.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said. Like I understand the point, and there's lots of other award ceremonies that are kind of geared towards that recognizing and celebrating independent film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not like directing a Hollywood film is any easier. No. Obviously, you have a lot more resource, but you have a lot more pressure and interference and different types of challenges. So I don't think the artistry is any more or less in a Hollywood film compared to an independent film. I guess. But Oscars is just skewed to recognizing those films because it's put on by Hollywood to recognize Hollywood.
But still, a lot of the kind of really big like blockbusters don't get celebrated in that way. In the same way that Call of Duty, whether you like it or not, doesn't really kind of get the recognition it deserves.
When it's a good, when it's like had a really good iteration, like Modern Warfare. Great game.
Yeah.
Well, it's the whole thing of suffering from becoming too popular, and then it becomes it's like people start to.
I guess that's the success that you derive your pleasure from, and the fact that you're the popular film. Like most people have played your game, watch your movie.
Yeah.
Just like us, right?
Just like the old IGN. Oh yeah.
Nailing it.
And on that note, that's it.
On that self-congratulatory,
well done us.
Obscenely awful note.
That's it for this week's award-winning podcast.
Why don't we put that on every week?
Do you think we should?
Dude, no.
Only the weeks that Gav's not on, because obviously
he didn't win it, did he?
He was up against us. He didn't win it. And then he joined us. So anyway, that is it. Well done for joining the award-winning podcast, Rory. Thank you as always, Daniel. We'll be back same time next week. Until then, bye!
Bye-bye.